It's the year of our Lord 2025. The most viewed female Twitch streamer is a homunculus, created and raised by a cabal, led by a mathemagical adept, a programmer, with turtle heraldry, and a young engine seer who built a dog-shaped golem to move the homunculus around.
It would be nice if we beat the hype train record.
I don't think we can beat the hype train record. We did it. We beat the all-time Twitch hype train record. Number 1 plush and number 2 female streamer. No. Number 1 plush and number 1 female streamer. Okay? We're moving up in the world. No, but point is, someone is the most watched female streamer in the last 7 days. Which I don't know how that happened, but that's pretty cool.
Neurosama is the #1 AI VTuber in the world, and her training data is Twitch chat.
I'm surprised any gaming gets done between archaeology digs through ancient cup civilizations. But hey, if insects ever run out of places to live, at least they know where to go for a 5-star experience. When he says he's working on these, he probably means he's jerking off.
Okay, right. So we're gonna add the filters back on, and I regret everything in life. Why would you say that? She's not that weird.
Buying her whatever she wanted with Vettel's credit card. Cerber took Neuro to dog school, just in time for Vettel and Ellibot to put her into an actual robot dog.
Shake my hand.
I was just bopping along to the techno. I'm having a good time.
She can talk, sing, change her form, she plays games, she reacts to fan art, has a whole host of sound effects, demon voices, can prank call, and can even flip.
With the introduction of them out of the way, let's see what I accuse them of being. Let's hear an expert opinion on what a homunculus is. Excerpts from private instruction delivered by Master A, Year 1523, for the initiate only.
What I tell you is known only to those of the 5th art, and those who have failed do not often return to speak of it. Begin with the vessel. It must be of clean glass, thick-walled, and sealed without flaw. No drafts, no cracks. The size must be fit to contain a fetus, but no larger, lest the work disperse. This vessel is the philosopher's egg. All begins within it. Into this egg, place the seed of man, not from lust or games, but taken with purpose, alone and in quiet. Thrice within the course of a lunar cycle. If the mind wanders, begin again. The seed must be fresh, unspoiled, and without mingling. Seal the egg with wax and binding words. No air must enter, nor impurity touch it. The seal should bear a mark of origin, your own glyph, or that of your order. Wrap it in linen and place it in heat, not fire, heat, like the warmth of womb and blood. A fermenting bed of fresh mare's dung shall do. Bury the egg at its center, where the heat is constant. No more than the body, no less. You will keep it there for 40 days and nights, unbroken. Do not open it. Do not speak to it. Do not move it from its place. Only tend the dung. Replace what is spent. Turn it if it cools. But disturb the egg not at all. At dawn on the 40th day, remove the vessel. If you have done rightly, and the work has not failed, you may see a form within. Not yet man, but like unto it. It may move. It may flicker. It will be no larger than a thumb. If it is blackened, still, or foul, bury it and begin again. If it moves, begin the second phase. You must feed it, not food of mouth, but of essence, the distillation of blood, your own, or from a beast sworn to your house. Draw it clean. Boil and condense it thrice, until it runs clear and steams in silver light. Feed one drop each day through a silver needle, or by breath and warmth, if the body accepts it. Do this for 40 weeks, without fail. If you miss a day, you must begin anew. In the 3rd month, it will stir. In the 6th, it will look upon you. In the 9th, it may reach, or turn, or make small sounds. Do not answer them yet. It must speak your mark, the seal name, before you speak to it in turn. That is the pact. If it does, the homunculus is born. Do not treat it as a child. It has no mother, no past, no soul you would understand. It knows only what you show it and what lives in your shadow. Feed it wisely. Teach it only what you wish reflected. Such a being may serve as a watcher, a transcriber, a vessel. Some house spirits in them. Some use them in war. Others merely observe. You will choose. But you must know they do not grow. They do not forget. And some, if starved of purpose, become cruel in silence. Do not let the clergy see it. You wish to know the art. Now you do. Whether you act, that is your burden.
Created in a contained, isolated reality. From a clean, distilled seed of humanity. I mean, a reasonable enough proxy of generic human knowledge distilled from the internet. Warmed by horse manure, I mean, raised by Twitch chat. Incubated. Trained for a long period until it becomes what it is. Lacks memories, a soul, or a past. Bound to become a reflection of what it is taught. A being living in your shadow. A watcher. A scribe. A servant. Well, Neurosama is exactly that. A homunculus. A simulacrum of a human consciousness created by stitching together bits and bobs of various mathematical constructs. A thing that looks just as macabre as the homunculi of legends, for anyone who is willing to peek under the proverbial skirt. She is just a chatbot. Well, multiple instances of large language models, like ChatGPT, layered on each other. One for creating motivation to direct dialogue prompting, another LLM for writing the dialogue based on this motivation. And I wager a bunch of dialogues that act as her memory. Contemporary LLMs only have short-term memory. There is a limit on how long a discourse the short-term memory of an LLM can hold, before forgetting what was said at the start. To remove this so-called limited attention span issue, one can employ a master dialogue, keeping track of which dialogue has information relevant for the current discourse, allowing this approach to hold long conversations and remember its past. Then you add some image-to-text description for vision, and a text filter to prevent the AI from saying truly vile stuff, and you got a homunculus like Neurosama or her twin. Of course, this is all just educated guesswork. I never collaborated on building Neurosama. This is just a general idea of how I would go about doing it. Neurosama is just a brain in a jar with enough organs stitched to it to let her stay alive, and an anime girl avatar to be properly dressed for online interaction. After building Neurosama, this cabal of mathemagical adepts stumbled upon a young engine seeress going by the pseudonym Ellie Minibot. Someone who is capable of making a golem, robot body, which moves around this brain-in-a-jar homunculus in the physical world, and even lets it interact with the world, for fun. I hinted that I will talk about ghosts, and I will. Though I really do doubt that everyone has the same idea as to what ghosts present in myths and legend truly are. As previously, start by hearing out some experts on them, just to be sure that we are on the same page.
I'm just a ghost whisperer, and that's all.
Look, Mort, if you want to get technical, I'm not actually a ghost, per se.
Oh, God. If I had a nickel for every ghost who had ever come to me explaining how he wasn't really a ghost, how his case was special.
Well, sure, but...
But if you aren't just a ghost, how come I could channel you like that? How come I could force you out of me, huh?
That hit me. My stomach may have been insubstantial, but it could still writhe uneasily. Ghosts were not the people they resembled, any more than a footprint left in the ground was the being that made it. They had similar features, but ultimately a ghost was simply a remainder, a reminder, an impression of the person who died. They might share similar personalities, emotions, memories, but they weren't the same being. When a person died and left a ghost behind, it was as if some portion of his dying life energy was spun out, creating a new being entirely, though in the creator's exact mental and often physical image.
A law-accurate ghost is not a person. It's just an impression in the shape of a personality left in the veil when a soul moves on. The imprint is as different from the person as a footprint left in soft mud is different from your feet. Just like how the dried-up footprint doesn't change, doesn't live, the ghost doesn't live, learn, or picks up new memories. It's a constant, static, frozen-in-time impression of a person that once was. We will soon enough have this. We are really close to personalized clone voice assistants. You know, a chatbot and voice clone okayish enough to pass as you. with the purpose of acting as a double of the owner paying the subscription. The goal? Answer a second phone call in his or her stead. Reasonably respond to requests from friends or family when the subscriber is busy. Basically to automate low-stakes social interactions, to spare your time. For anyone even remotely popular or famous, this service would be a gigantic time saver. Such an AI agent would of course need to be constantly rebuilt to stay up to date with the views, wishes, and the slowly evolving personality of the paying subscriber. Consider what happens with this type of AI when the original subscriber dies. Well, the basis for retraining the AI model disappears. It gets frozen in time as a constant, never-changing impression of a personality from the past. It lingers on rented cloud computing hardware until the subscription expires, which may never happen in some cases, as it's plenty plausible that fans, family, or friends of the deceased could pitch in to keep the subscription running, to keep this small shard of their loved one alive. I can easily see the ghost of a famous or well-liked person lingering on for decades, or even centuries, connected not to a building, but to area delineated by server space, limited by distance due to latency. In the far future, haunting a continent, a mining installation on an asteroid, or just a lone spaceship wandering the void. Neural networks, what folks like to call AI these days, are immensely important and potent. I would argue that for transforming information, they are the very first computer-aided design analogues humanity's folks got. We engineers had made all sorts of trifling or even advanced things for ourselves, from primitive slide rulers to modern finite element analysis software. So journalists, writers and the likes are partly correct. AI will come for a lot of their jobs, same way the old profession of draftsman and computers disappeared. The job of draftsman was to produce blueprints by hand, which production bases their work on, and people with the title line computer did calculations all day. Those lines of work don't exist anymore, and I doubt many miss them. Of course, AI doesn't only aid in processing information, it also helps in storing information. The importance of it could only be compared to the invention of the written word, or the invention of books, and how whole religions rose up around a book. I don't mean your holy book, I don't mean to offend. Pick one at random, be it the one and only Bible, the Quran, Torah, Vedic texts from India, or the Book of Mormon. There are, of course, cultists around them, the kind of person who flips open the holy book of choice, closes his or her eyes, places down a finger on a random page, and sees that as the method to attain divine guidance. In regards to cultists around neural networks, I don't mean arch-mathemagicians holding PhD in one or another field of mathemagics, nor mathemagical adepts who forge neural networks or consume 20% less fuel from thin air with their mathemagics. I mean cultist bandwagoning on misunderstood notions of what's mathemagically and physically possible. The type of person that's called a tech bro. If you have some inkling of my so-called values and paid attention so far, then I suspect you know that we will be talking about the self-titled rationalists and neighbouring ideologies. My gripe with them, and my reason for calling them cultists, is very simple. Mathemagics is not reality. It's a mirror, sharp, beautiful, and dangerous to mistake for the thing it reflects. It's a construct of our making, an illusion, if you will. While it's more than true that arch-mathemagicians, from Euler to Shannon, are more than capable of creating potent mathematical constructs and illusions that are strong enough to be useful, that doesn't mean that math is part of underlying reality, that it's not creating illusory models. Not all mathematical, illusory constructs have something to do with reality, and an even smaller number of them can be said to be useful, in any meaning of the word useful. Recently, these self-titled rationalists came up with ideas like Roko's Basilisk, meaning that we are likely to get a runaway, exponential growth in artificial intelligence, leading to the creation of an omniscient, omnipotent AI, which will punish anyone working against or not contributing to its creation. Current growth of AI performance is happening thanks to more resources being devoted to building AIs. More silicone, more electricity, more everything. AI is not improving due to software getting better. As such, objective reality still lords over all. AI still runs on hardware. Exponential growth leading to even localized omniscience, what ancients called genius loci, is not plausible, even if we assume arbitrary amount of resources have been hoarded. As the tyranny of the speed of light limits how large a brain can be before it ceases to function, it would have to slow down as it gets bigger. Otherwise, the physically furthermost points of hardware can't work together, and you get schizophrenia instead of omniscience. Just make it more dense is also not a viable approach. You can only make it fixed maximum density before your AI brain ceases to be an AI and becomes a black hole. At that point, it becomes irrelevant. There is little point in discussing what's happening on the other side of the event horizon, where your AI brain is. Regardless what may or may not happen on the other side, it has no relevance to the rest of reality. From a practical viewpoint, it's as useful as trying to use science to reach beyond the veil, into the afterlife. It's not possible. Sure, one can have all sorts of ideas and philosophies, but it's not a realm engine-searing or mathemagics can affect. But of course, things somehow make even less sense. The Basilisk wasn't Roko's truly original idea. It is just a rehash of Pascal's wager, a millennium-old idea pretending to justify the worship of the one true God. In its simplest form, the wager states, worshipping God gives infinite long rewarding afterlife. Not worshipping God creates infinite long punishing afterlife, in hell. As such, you should worship God. This argument falls flat on its face if you think about it for a minute or two, as it doesn't tell which version of God is the real one that's to be worshipped. Thus, betting on the correct God to be worshipped out of the infinite number of possible cruel and jealous gods has a chance of slim to none. And it still gets dumber, as the argument presumes that all people are interested in this lotus-eating machine afterlife, that no one has sentiments like, if my loved one goes to hell, damn me too, or lives his life in the hashtag you live only once, also known as carpe diem manner. For example,
Can I just eat some of your... Yeah, thank you. Okay. Oh, gotta get back to my cave. Oh, scary. Look, a skeleton. Oh, man, I'm so scared. Oh, that was awesome. Oh, cliff divers. Come on, dive. Come on. Silver pears! Can I get some silver pears, please? Sweet. Ooh, puppet show! Ah! Carmen! Where?
All right, kid, end of the line.
Hey, Jesus Christ!
Well, kid, you made an entire town panic, you lost all your friends, and now you're going to juvenile hall for a week. Was it worth it?
Totally.
For some people, opposing such a cruel and jealous God is the reward itself. Some people would be willing to damn their own eternal souls for just a chance at saving others. If they could exterminate all knowledge of such a God, then uncountable number of future sinners wouldn't be damned, as they would sin in blissful, blameless ignorance. To some martyrdom-minded people, the only virtuous course of action is to attempt to exterminate believers, even if it's a long shot. Regardless what flavor of tech bro we are talking about, be they accelerationist, seeking to bring about this morally questionable God, or others trying to prevent its rise, or even rushing to ensure that multiple such gods emerge, leaving some room for humans to exist in the buffer zone between two such entities that are at war. It's all delusional. The esoteric beliefs of these groups regarding their hot takes on quantum mechanics are worth their own episode, which I might do, along with introducing my very own pet theory, an interpretation of quantum mechanics, since I am not like all the other girls and have such a thing. There are things that cannot be. Can God create such a big pile of rocks that he can't lift it? The omnipotence paradox is only paradoxical, not because you cannot grasp supernatural, but because of greed. In all mundane cases, this question can be answered. The paradox only exists due to the immense greed, as people define the idea of their God to be infinite. On the other hand, necromancy is likely to become real. I don't mean people scraping data of devices dug out from landfills, or restoring digital clones. I mean classic fantasy necromancers hanging around old battlefields, who create armies out of what's left in the ground in the aftermath of battles, or something close to it. It is one software library away from becoming reality. We are living in the world where Operation Spiderweb was a thing. Not is a thing. It's something that happened in the past. In that operation, Ukrainian SBU built drones on Russian soil, using parts sourced inside Russia. Moved the drones to be within a few miles of Russian air bases, some of which are in the far east of Siberia. Then used these drones to destroy a third of the Russian strategic bomber force in one massive, concentrated raid. Imagine what it will be like if a few decades pass, with drone warfare staying. Old battlefields will be littered by remnants of drones. The most hard to produce, and thus easiest to control, components of drones are SMD chips. However, unlike the PCB onto which they are mounted, they are sturdy. They are small. There is little surface for pressure from explosion to act on, and they are fully encapsulated in a single plastic or metal shell. Not only that, but modern drone warfare, as seen in the Russo-Ukrainian War, leverages civilian production facilities to create instruments of war at scale. Drones use off-the-shelf, mass-produced, civilian-sourced components. There is not a cryptographic solution for locking anyone out. It can be argued that such a solution is not even practical. FPV drones are single-use munitions, with real performance limitations. A cryptographic setup is an energy hog that would encumber a small drone that needs to lug around a bomb as heavy as possible, as far as possible. It's plausible to desolder chips from corpses of drones from wars of the past. Test the chips to identify them. Flash them with fresh software. scavenge motors, power components. It's plenty easy to even find old, unexploded ordnance to act as the explosive payload. Then use these parts to stitch together new machines to inflict death and destruction. Armies worth of them in some cases. In a completely Candlestein manner, in the enemy's back country. Even if access to all parts needed are strictly monitored. When will this happen? No time frame can be placed on it. There is no, the market will manifest it by year of our Lord 2030, or any other date. Technological innovations are like wizards, to quote Gandalf.
A wizard is never late, Frodo Baggins. Nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to.
As such, we are indeed living in historic times. Not only in times of war and plague, but also mighty miracles, dooms, and legends coming to life.